Hey guys, welcome to 𝑽𝒊𝒐𝒍𝒆𝒕 Awakening. Today we never called Salamari Iwari featuring our Tatsugiri EX from, not sure which set this is from, but it has the Cinnabar Lure attack that allows you to look at the top 10 cards of your deck and put any Pokemon you find there on your bench for 1 Fire, 1 Water, and 1 Darkness. So we got our Crispin and this crystal that we get to accelerate energy on this thing. And this is our only basic. We are playing our Pidgeot for the free search. With our lure, we get to pull out our stage 2 Pokemons, which is basically the main one that we want to focus on. To pull out onto our bench is our Salamence, that's why we're playing the stage 1 as well. And also Blaziken for the acceleration, since this thing needs 4 energy for 300 damage. And it also needs to discard energy to pull off that big damage as well. And we are also playing a little bit of control to make sure we get to win the game against a trickier, if we don't pull out the right Pokemons, at least we get to stall or lock them from attacking our Pokemon. If they're playing Terras or if they're playing basic Pokemon, we can use our Cypher Maniac to pull out the right Pokemon on the top of our deck so that we get, we are not playing Cypher Maniac, my bad. So we're actually playing Deduction Kit for this deck. We don't have Cypher Maniac anymore. So we got Giovanni's Charisma just to accelerate energy on this thing, so we get to use it as fast as possible and pull out as many Pokemon onto our bench. We used to have Reuniclus as well, just in case we don't get the right Pokemon, we get to play Reuniclus to pull out even more Pokemon. But then I decided to cut it off because you have to use the attack twice. You're wasting 2 turns just to pull out your Pokemon. So now we don't have Reuniclus, we don't have 𝑚𝒆𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒓, we don't have Ludicolo. We have instead more on control and damage boost. So we got Carracosta to increase the damage of our attacking Pokemon done to our opponent's active evolution Pokemon by 30. So we actually get to kill any stage 2 EXs with our Dragon Impact with 1 hit, and we get to do White Blast as well before doing Dragon Impact for the second knockout or something. Blaziken gets to attack as well, 200 damage. We get to switch out. We don't have Jet Energy, so we actually have to retreat, but then we get to reattach the energy and then use our quick search for another Crispin. So that's basically all for this deck. I don't want to go on too long. We have our Academy and Night to put the right cards at the top of our deck so that we get to pull it out with our Cinnabar Lure, 1 Boss's Order, 4 Pokegear so that we get to Crispin as fast as possible, or play Giovanni's Charisma to use this attack again as fast as possible. So that's all. Let's go for our gameplay and see how well this deck works. Okay, let's go for our first game with Salamari Iwari. It's the sushi, is the name of the sushi, by the way. A new brand. They got a Sylveon coin. We're playing against Hop's Zacian EX, which is a very nice showcase of this new Tatsugiri stage 2 box. We got stage 1 as well, but you get what I mean. So we have Iris for this deck, for this game, just because we are actually playing Power Glass to support, not just to help us accelerate on our Tatsugiri if we get it on the first turn, but also to help us recharge energy on our Salamence, since we are discarding energy for Dragon Impact each time we use that attack. But now, instead of Power Glass, we got 4 Pokegear to make sure we get to play Crispin on the first turn going second, or on our second turn going first. We even have 1 Arven to dig for the crystal. If we got the crystal prize, we got our Pokegear. So discarding and reattaching from the discard pile is actually quite difficult, because you have to search for your tool card. We only have, I think we have 2 or 3 Power Glass for this game, but even if you have 3 copies, it's quite difficult to search for that tool card while discarding energy from your hand. Since we are not playing that many energies as well, we only have, I think we have 3 vessels, so 12 energy is quite a lot. But if you don't have that 1 energy from your hand, 1 extra energy to discard from your hand early game with that Power Glass, then you can't actually attach that extra energy on your first turn. If you don't do it on your first turn, it's already too late. So Power Glass is not really the best way to accelerate energy on our Tatsugiri, and the main focus of this deck is Tatsugiri, so we want to be accelerating energy on this thing so that we get to use Cinnabar Lure on, you know, as early as we can to pull out our Pokemon, and then we can think about discarding our energy with our Vessel, Ultra Ball, whatever, to make sure we get to use Blaziken's ability, because Blaziken's ability only allows you to attach from the discard pile. We do have to remember that, and we do have to discard energy, but not too much though, because we don't have rods or any way to recycle those energies, and we need Crispin, we need energies in our deck to play Crispin for further acceleration. So obviously Blaziken's ability is not enough since it's only attaching one energy from the discard pile. We need Crispin for late game as well, remember that. But anyways, now back to the game. They have Snowy Mountain in play to ping us with extra damage counters and also to punish us even further with their Monkey-Dory. So since they have Hop's Choice Band, they get to reduce the attack cost of that Zacian, allowing them to attach free energies on their Monkey-Dory to basically transfer more damage counters and punish us even more while boosting their damage with Snorlax and that Choice Band. So Hop's deck is actually pretty fun to play. So we actually got Infernape for this deck with that Meowscarada to counter Charizard or Zoroark. I think Zoroark's a dark type. It's obviously not poison, but if they have a Zoroark, 300 damage would be enough to take it out. Even with that, I'm not sure if it's 280 HP, probably 280 though. So if they have like a rigid band, I don't think we can knock it out with our Salamence. But if we do have a Carracosta in play, that's why we have Carracosta. It covers a lot of different situations. It takes out stage 1 Pokemon with tank, takes out stage 2 Pokemon with high HP. So a 340, if they have 340 HP though, I'm not too sure if it works, but we might be lucky enough if we have a Carracosta in our hand with that Academy, we could actually put extra 1 at the top of our deck and hopefully get the other with our Cinnabar Lure. You never know. If we got 2 Carracosta, we get 360 damage with our Dragon Impact, taking out a Blastoise EX, for example, with 1 hit. So at some point, we actually have a Turo as well to pull out the stupid fish. I mean, the low HP, the weak-ass Tatsugiri with, you know, obviously 2 price liability. We don't want it to stay in play for too long for them to boss it out and, you know, knock out our EX. So if they don't knock it out after our first Cinnabar Lure, which is very likely though, which is probably the reason why we chose to remove it from the deck altogether, we could actually use Turo to remove it from play before they target our Tatsugiri EX. So they knocked it out, got the first 2 prize. We have only 2 Blaziken to work with, no Salamence, no Shelgon, nothing else. I'm pretty sure we have a Uniqlos for this game as well, so it's pretty depressing that we're not getting the right stuff, but not to matter, not to worry. They are playing a metal EX, and we got our Crispin, we got 2 Blaziken with an Infernape. We should be fine. We should have enough energy to knock out our first EX and see what happens. They got the Dory set up. They got Snorlax in play. I think they're gonna attack with the Lex before using Cramorant. Cramorant's not really doing enough damage though. They could actually take out our Infernape, and then they would have to knock out both Blazikens to take the last 2 prize. If we don't bench anything else, we're probably not gonna bench anything else since we have no other basic but that Tatsugiri, and it would be super ridiculous to be benching another Tatsugiri. It would be mad stupid. So always remember to put your fire energy in your hand. When you're playing Crispin, I think we made a mistake here because we could actually have used Infernape's ability to attach that 1 fire from our hand. If they choose not to knock it out, we actually used the ability already. So if we put that fire energy in our hand, if they play a boss or a counter catcher on the next turn or whatever, they can't actually do counter yet, but if they rhyme or there's no more escape rope, if they play rhyme to force our Blaziken out into the active, we could actually use Pyro Dance a second time and attach that 1 more fire from our hand. But I don't think we need that much energy though. We just need 2 for Blaziken to attack, and we got enough acceleration, so there's nothing to worry about. We're not playing Salamence for this game, unfortunately. We're not playing Milotic or Nidoqueen, no Reuniclus, no Pidgeot. I think we got Togekiss for draw support. So after pulling out your Pokemon onto the bench, you still need some kind of draw or search support in play with abilities, using your Pokemon's ability so that you get to sustain your strategy. So obviously, pulling out those Pokemon, those stage 2 cards isn't enough. We still need some kind of means to search for our energy, to play Crispin, to get our switch card, something. It's not over after Cinnabar Lure. Like, there are still stuff to be done, obviously. And I actually thought of playing other Terras, stage 2 Terras, since we are doing the Crystal. If we don't get our Crystal, if we have it priced, if we don't get to use it for our Tatsugiri, we can actually play it for other Terra Pokemons that we pull out with Cinnabar Lure. But eventually I decided against it just because there aren't that many useful Terra Pokemons that fit into this deck. Since we are playing only Fire, Water, and Darkness, we're only allowed to play those 3 energy just because of Tatsugiri. So there are obviously, since if you have the Crystal, you could play stuff like Shelgon EX, 𝑧𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄, whatever, you know, all the starter ones, all the Terra that doesn't really need that, the, you know, not the stellar ones, but the Terra. But I'm not sure how useful they are though, so that's the reason why I removed the Shelgon. If you play 3 Carracosta as opposed to only 2 with 1 Shelgon EX, it would be much more likely for it to show up at the top 10 cards of our deck than to have either 1 of the Shelgon or 2 of the Carracosta. Believe me, I've played this game long enough to know about the stats. 3 copies is better than 2 plus 1. Okay? Like, if you have a bunch of other cards in 3s as well, you would have a higher chance of the Carracosta being benched with your Cinnabar Lure. So this is one of the games where it was pretty early on that I built this deck. That's why we have Meowscarada, Togekiss. We don't have Pidgeot EX as well in this deck. We got Reuniclus, we got Infernape. It's quite an early build of this form of deck, featuring, you know, Blaziken, Salamence, and Tatsugiri as the main foundation, the core of this, the core strategy they were trying to pull off. We don't really have the numbers worked out yet, and that's why we couldn't get the right Pokemon's benched. But you'll see later on in the game with Cinnabar Lure, you would have a higher chance of pulling out 4 to 5 Pokemon at the top 10 cards of the deck onto your bench with the first haul, with the first pull, and you wouldn't need your Reuniclus. So it's better to play stuff in 3s, in 4s, in 3 or 4, rather than stuff in 1 copy. Like, we got a lot in 1s here. Ludicolo, Meowscarada, Togekiss, Reuniclus. We even have only 2, if I'm not mistaken, Infernape with 1 Monferno for the extra acceleration, which isn't really helping because you have to attach from your hand and you need extra fire. If you got the Crispin though, you can attach 2 energy from your hand, but it's quite unlikely for you to be getting a 3rd energy already in your hand. You know, while playing the Crispin, we do have a lot of vessels, but it's quite hard to play Infernape. It's only 1 extra energy as well. Not really that worth it, if you ask me. I would rather play Carracosta as opposed to Infernape. So we are focusing more on the more necessary cards and increasing the number of copies that we have of them in the deck, so that we get to streamline and make it as consistent as possible. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the message I'm trying to get across here. Streamlining and consistency is way more important than getting fun combos that doesn't actually work. So I think I'll just leave you guys to focus on the game. Don't want to be sick of my voice. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye everyone!